A sport is healthy living.
Sport is freedom. Sport is a family.
Sport is a passion.
Sport is finding yourself.
El deporte es amor.
Sport is motivation.
El deporte es superar tus límites.
El deporte es sacrificio.
Why do I like sports? I think sports is my passion. Since I was little, I always try to follow soccer as much as possible. I'm a very, very big fan of soccer in general. Now that the World Cup is coming, I'm looking forward for the event, and also studying sport management. That is my major. I think that I see sports from another side, and I really enjoy sports overall. When I have nothing to do, I usually go into the internet and follow whatever sport is happening.
So I like sports because I really like the competitiveness and the fact that you can go and you can watch it or you can participate, but there's always something that you could be doing, whether it's on TV or if you are going out with your friends to do something.
I think sports is a great way to build team camaraderie. In the future, you're going to have to be in different organizations, and whatever job you pursue, you're most likely going to have to collaborate with others. So being on a team really builds that bond and that trust between one another. I also just love sports in general. I love the competition, and I really love the adrenaline rush and all the emotions that come with competing. And, when you go through practice every single day, once you get to the competition and all the hard work pays off, it's really a great feeling.
So sports has been in my life for as long as I can remember. I grew up on a small street where there lived on a dead end, and outside we would be out there until like 8 o'clock in the morning until almost 7 o'clock at night, just running around doing everything that we possibly could. And it's just it's always been a part of my life. My dad was involved in sports. We used to go watch him play when I was really young, and he played ice hockey. So it's just always been a huge factor in my life, and I guess that's part of the reason why I love it so much, and just being involved in it has really shaped the person who I am today, and it's taught me a lot of life skills that I don't believe I would have acquired as quickly as I did if I didn't participate in sports. So I just love it because I've met so many different people from all over the world. I've had teammates from Sweden, from Spain, Finland, pretty much anywhere. There's a good chance I know someone from there just because of the sports community.
Men or women are pretty much, for me, are the same thing. It depends on the sport, but at the same time, professionally, some sports are, men are considered way better than female. It's not that they're better than female; it's that they're in another level. I think men, for example, in soccer, men are considered better just because the level of technique and level of fitness that men tend to get watch a professional men's soccer team, you see a very, very high level of intensity, which makes it more easy to watch, more intense, and that makes it more like you're more excited to watch it.
Personally believe that men and women neither are better or worse at a sport. It just comes down to if you are training harder, if you're athletic, because there are female athletes and male athletes for hockey, let's say, that are just as good as each other. They're just in a different bracket because they are men versus women, but neither is better than the other.
I think, sports like American football or, things like that would better be suited for the male physique. But, when it comes down to it, women can do just as many things that male sports can. There's women's basketball, men's basketball, women's soccer, men's soccer, all those different types of things. So I think, in the grand scheme of things, women can do everything that men can. But, at the end of the day, men can take a little more beating, I guess. But, women can do the same exact things men can.
Oh, that's a tough question, because I like to think that there isn't that big discrepancy between men and women in sport, but not so to say that men are better than women, but I definitely think that there's a physical component that we don't reach as women compared to men's sports. But overall, I would say just because of overtime and how much technology has advanced, and even what we are now capable of doing, that they're not on the same playing field, but I would say that they're definitely getting pretty close, where I think women are starting to catch up and almost be at equal power as the men in certain.
I think that men's sports are more supported than women's sports because there's more money in men's sports. It's not only here in the United States where football is the biggest sport, and that's a perfect example for also showing how important and how it is important here in the U.S. specifically to have the same amount of sports with Title IX and all that. I think that here in the States you have a perfect example with football, how you don't have such a big sport as football for women. I think there's more money in football. I would say there's never gonna be the same amount of money there's involved in the NFL, the same as something else.
I think that there's fewer opportunities for women in professional sports simply because that's the culture that has been made around these sports. If you go back to when sports really became popular, it was men were competing, and that goes back to a lot of gender stereotyping, and women are pushing back. You see a lot of amazing athletes now, female athletes that are really competing, and they're trying to show hey, we're just as good, but it's going to take a long time for women to get up there. So you can have these few really strong, empowered women doing that, but until we can really kind of get a backing behind women, it's going to be a really male-dominated industry.
That's a tough question. I think just historically speaking, unfortunately, women don't have as many equal rights as men when it comes down to it. Historically speaking, men have always kind of thought they were better and had more power over women, and that's unfortunate, but that's just the harsh reality of it. And so I think in that aspect they're a little behind. Because of men, they're a little behind in building up their professional sports. But I know a lot of WNBA, Major League Women's Soccer, they're all building great reputations, and the more I see them more and more on social media, they're getting a lot more media coverage. I see them a lot more on ESPN, so I think they're definitely building, but I just think they're a little behind because of the past and stuff like that.
This one's really tough because as a woman, I don't want to answer this saying that women are weaker than men. I think that there are plenty of men that I am stronger than, but unfortunately there are still some cases where I wouldn't ever put a male and a female wrestler together or boxer together, simply for safety, as to like biologically men and women are made differently. But then again, you have a boxer like Ronda Rousey. She could kick probably any professional soccer player's butt.
I mean, no, definitely not. I mean, it's just, you know, if a human, no matter what gender, puts forth the right amount of work and the right amount of dedication to their sport and whatever passion they pursue, they could be equally just as talented, definitely. But like I said, you know, like biology and all that stuff, men do have, you know, broader shoulders, on average taller, you know, easier to develop their muscles and stuff like that. But based on talent and skill level, I think women and men can be just as equal if they put in the right amount of work.
I don't think so. I think women are just as tough as men. I mean, I play ice hockey, and I don't think any of those guys are more tougher than I am. Like, we want to play just as hard, just as physical. We have the same mental toughness. Like, I think every person is strong enough to participate at that high of a level as the men's teams are, and like, women shouldn't be discredited just because we're females.
You're never gonna see the same support that you see of, I don't know, here for example at Endicott. If you see at the college level, you're never gonna see the same support for the field hockey team than you see for the football team or the baseball team or whatever team. I don't know. I think that there are two different fan bases, and if you're into soccer, or if you're into hockey, or if you're into football, you're gonna support more the men's side. But if you're into field hockey, of course you're gonna support the women's because there's no option for men. So I think that it depends on what people believe and what people like.
I think that women's sports should be just as supported as men's sports are. Right now that they don't have the publicity, which is unfortunate, but you have some amazing female athletes out there who are making a great name for themselves. I think of Serena Williams, who is a phenomenal tennis player, but she's in the women's bracket, so a lot of the times when she is supported, it's not in the right light. It's really gendered news talking about how pretty she is. And in reality, you should be talking about a female's athletic ability. So I hope that there is more of a push towards that as we keep moving forward. Just as being a female athlete myself, it's really frustrating to see that. But there should be support, but making sure the support is in the right way, not just showing women attention because you can, or you can put a camera on them because they're pretty, because that's not the same as men.
I definitely think so. I think if we were to all support, if everyone was to support all the sports equally, I think that there would be more awareness of women's sports and even maybe increased participation within youth women's sports. So I definitely think that we should look at them all the same.
When it comes to the pay, there's more money involved in men than women's sports. I think men deserve to be paid as the way as they're paid, because billions of people watch men's sports, not billions of people watch women's sports.
I think that has a lot to do with the number of viewers and like what's attracted to people. Like most people I know that even play women's hockey, like I know I don't watch the NWHL. Like to me, watching the NHL is just, it's more established and more developed, and it's always on TV, whereas like the NWHL, like I have to really go find it if I want to go look for it. And I think that's like part of the reason why the men can make more money, because everybody knows what it is, they know who they are, so they have all this revenue coming in that the NWHL hasn't received yet.